The Philadelphia Eagles are now one game away from clinching the NFC East and the NFC as a whole. We've been saying this for a couple of weeks now. I had faith in Gardner Minshew. He let me down. It is what it is. But we are going to get some guys back, mainly including our quarterback, QB1, Jalen Hurts, should be back for this New York Giants game. So we're going to talk about all these guys coming back, what it may mean. And before we do all that, I just want to give my prayers. I want to give my thoughts to Damar Hamlin and his family, man, and all the Bills, all the Buffalo Bills that had to, sit through that and see their brother go down like that. That's never something you want to see. I don't feel it right. I don't feel it's really necessary for me to talk about some of the negative stuff people did, thereafter. I think that the focus should be on Damar Hamlin and his family. So, God bless to them, and I hope nothing but the best. But what I'm going to do is talk about some Eagles, and hopefully that'll kind of help us move on a little bit. So let's get into it.
You want Philly food?
Yeah, let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today we are going to talk about Jalen Hurts coming back, talk about what's going on with Lane Johnson. We have a little bit of news about Josh Sweat as well. So we're going to talk about all these guys, Devonte Maddox. There's a lot of guys that are injured right now, but we're going to talk about it all. Before we get into that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. We are now on the road to 5K, and we would love for you guys to join that ride. So let's just hop right into it. We'll start with the obvious, with the low-hanging fruit, the guy that's going to come back and going to hopefully finish this season off correctly for us. That is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was out for the past 2 weeks. There was reports that he would have been good to go against the Saints. The Eagles staff wanted to play it a little safe, give him a little bit more time to rest. If we would have won, it would have been a great decision. We did not win, so it makes me feel upset, but it is what it is. So Jalen Hurts looks like he's going to be coming back for week 18, finish this year off, and then hopefully if he gets this win, he gets an extra week of rest. So, he still gets that little bit of time. Hopefully he's good. Hopefully nothing goes wrong with that AC joint sprain. But I think that the Eagles resting him was the smart move. I really do feel that. I feel like Gardner Minshew should have won us at least the Saints game. Now I get a little bit worried, and I said this prior to the games happening. The Cowboys game, if he would have lost that game, you look at the game and you say, all right, let's see how he played. Maybe he can still. And even after the Cowboys game, I felt he could go out there and beat the Saints. That game against the Saints gives me no confidence whatsoever to go out there and put him out in another game, in a game that means so much to the Eagles. So it makes sense now that I can't talk. It now makes sense that Jalen Hurts is back in the fold. I think that that's what you needed to do. It's a good decision. It's unfortunate that we got to this point, but at the end of the day, there's some other guys that we got to worry about, right? I'll wait for Josh Sweat because Josh Sweat his news wasn't too much. But, Devonte Maddox looks like he's not going to play for the rest of this regular season. I know it's only one game, but it looks like he will sit out this Saints game. If he does play, I will be a little bit surprised. We need him for the playoffs. I think that was shown last game when Josiah Scott was in there. Shout out to Josiah Scott. Don't get me wrong. He got that big interception, brought us back, kept us in the game. This defense kept us in the game. So I'm kind of nitpicking here, but we do need Devonte Maddox back. It's very obvious when Josiah Scott is at that slot corner position. I feel like you want all your best dogs out there. You want your best players out there. Devonte Maddox is one of those guys, so I'm hoping that he's going to be good. I'm hoping that he's going to be fine prior to the playoffs. I haven't heard anything definitive as far as him going into the playoffs. I've heard that it was kind of a week-by-week situation, but right now I am hearing that he's not going to be playing this final game. Hope I'm wrong, but that's what I'm hearing. Lane Johnson, somebody asked me about what's going on with Lane, if he's going to see time. Some of us know, some of us haven't really seen the news. Lane Johnson is going to be playing for for the playoffs. He is not going to play any of these regular season games. Obviously, hasn't played the last two, will not be playing the season finale. Another guy, look, if we win this game, that will be then 5 weeks that he has off, 4 or 5 weeks, somewhere in that range of rest, and you're hoping that he can come back as close to 100% as possible. Lane Johnson, I think, is one of the most important pieces to the puzzle when it comes to our offense. There's a lot of talk about what you should do, whether it's Jack Driscoll going in there at right tackle, whether it's Jordan Mailata switching over to right tackle and Andre Dillard coming on in at left tackle. There's a lot of things that the Eagles can do. I know watching these past couple games, especially against, Michael Parsons, especially against, Cam Jordan, Jack Driscoll hasn't looked great, right? Jack Driscoll has not looked amazing, but at the same time, we kind of just threw him in there. I do have faith in Jack Driscoll in small increments. I don't think that he's ready, and I said this in my live stream, I don't think that he's necessarily ready to be that guy that we run through a playoffs with, right? Like, we had to do it with Big V. Big V ended up playing very well for us. There's a chance that Jack Driscoll just gets it in the playoffs, but there's also a chance that he just falls on his face, and I don't want, if we have better options, I don't want to explore that. I don't want to see what happens if we're just put him out there. So I appreciate what he's done so far, and I do think that Jack Driscoll has skill, and I do think that he is a good backup. I just think that as the Eagles right now, we have better options if something is to happen to Lane Johnson down the line. But Lane Johnson, as it is, he is supposed to come back for the playoffs. We expect him to start for the playoffs, so that is big for the Eagles, right? Now we'll go back to the defensive side, and we'll talk about Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat had a very scary collision with, I want to say it was Jordan Davis, towards the end of last game. That was one of the scariest moments. Josh Sweat has had a very, very, very good year. And I'll throw another very in there. Josh Sweat has been dominant. And the past 6-7 weeks, you can say he's been one of, if not the most dominant defensive end in the game. I mean, he's been going crazy these past couple weeks. So it really, really sucks to lose a guy like that. And not only to lose a guy like that, to really have no idea what's going to happen. So what happened was he was taken obviously he was stretchered off of the field. He was taken to a local hospital. He did tweet out that night that he felt he was going to be back this season, which means a lot. I'm hoping that means playoffs. I'm pretty sure that probably will. But he's day to day right now. He's day to day with a neck injury. So we don't know necessarily where that's going to go. But at the same time, that is good news. We could have heard something way worse than that. We saw what happened yesterday. It could have been something way worse. So, you got to just thank God that it's nothing too bad. Josh Sweat is going to be a big part of this defense moving forward. Look, the defense, not just for this year. Josh Sweat, I feel like, is a future building block for this team. We've seen how good he is. We've seen how good he's gotten, right? Like from year one to now, there's been a evolution. There's been a consistent get better, right? There's been a consistent level, step up. There's been a step up in his game every year. So I feel like somebody like him is not someone you want to lose, and especially just the way, like I said, he's been playing these past couple of weeks. I want to say it's like the past 5 weeks he's been leading defensive ends in many major categories. So I'm so happy that he's not going to be gone for too long. It's looking like it's going to be probably this week, and then they'll have him back for the playoffs. I just wanted to go over some of these injuries. I don't think that it's the end of the world. I think that the Eagles are going to be able to look. Everybody's banged up. At the very end of the day, this is the end of the season. Everybody in the NFL is banged up. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's playing through something right now, or they're not playing. So it comes down to, can you just get enough rest to get your guys well oiled again and go out there and be a machine? I think that we can. I think that we got guys coming back, and QB1 being the most important one. And we have some merch coming out for Jalen Hurts. I'm working with a new merch company, so that should be coming out soon. But other than that, man, just go out there and hug your family. Go out there and love your friends. Go out there and be a good person today. What happened with DeMar can happen to anybody in NFL, and it was a cardiac arrest. It can happen to anybody in the NFL. It can happen to anybody just walking down the street. You never know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. So cherish the times that you have. It's a new year, but anything can just change within a second, right? Life doesn't wait. years to change. It can change at the drop of a dime. So enjoy who you are, enjoy who you have around you, enjoy who they are. Other than that, man, I appreciate everybody that supports me and supports the channel. And times like this just really open your eyes to be more grateful, because you never know what you have when it's going to be gone. So I'll stop being Dr. Phil, but I appreciate everybody. Other than that, you guys let me know in the comments what you're thinking. Who is the most important injury? Who's the most important person to come back, and why? I'm thinking it's Jalen Hurts. I think that's an easy one, right? I mean, maybe you could say Lane, but I think that Jalen Hurts is an easy one. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace!
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Fly Eagles flying, you on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog, or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Deshaun, hunting like Randall. Season hit, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.